Hey, well, not happy, but
I know what
fucking
you mean.
9/11.
9/11.
So I feel like 9/11 is that question where it's like, where were you when Kennedy died? So tell me where you were when 9/11 happened.
I was in bed, and my mom woke me up really afraid and trying to tell me about it. But I couldn't process it. And like, I was also a shitty kid. So I was like, I don't care. I want to sleep. And then still not getting it all day at school. And then literally for the rest of the year, that's all we ever talked about. And I was like, well, I guess this is important.
You don't remember like the day and like I vividly remember every moment of that day.
Well, okay, let's hear it. How did you hear about it?
So at that time, it was like the start of my senior year. I was pretty depressed, so I was sleeping in the basement on our couch, and I woke up and saw footage of the tower on fire. And because I'm a news junkie kid, I thought they were showing footage from the '93 bombing. And the first thing I thought was, why are they showing footage of the '93 bombing? So I woke
Again,
up.
I didn't even know about the 93 bombing. I know Biggie referenced it. Then later in life, thought he referenced the. I was like, how do you know? He died before it happened. Anyway, continue.
Because it's part of the 7 day theory. Oh wait, that's Tupac. I like that there's a conspiracy theory for everything. But I don't want to get into 9/11 conspiracy theories because I frankly just think it was
No.
fucking what happened.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so my mom was already awake. She said, we're under attack.
That's what
Um,
my mom said too.
it's the Middle East. Of course they're attacking us. You know, they call us the Great Satan. And like, I'd heard my mom's rants about our poor standing around the world before. So like, I really didn't take it seriously. And like, you know, my mom had a stroke when I was 14. So, you know, I just kind of like, her frontal lobe was damaged, so that inhibition wasn't quite there. So I was like, whatever. So I got on the bus, and it was weird because I would take the bus to school, the city bus to school. A lot of people weren't on the bus, they were going to work. And only one other person, I think, that would usually ride the bus with me from our neighborhood got on. And there was a man listening to the radio, and normally on TriMet, they don't allow you to listen to the radio, you know, just like a handheld boombox kind of thing. But he was listening to it, and everyone was sitting there listening to it as well, and it was silent. I mean, it was just so fucking weird. We got to school. It was a goddamn shit show. I mean, there were girls running around crying. Some people didn't show up. Caitlin didn't show up. Sarah didn't show up. And I think Catherine O'Shea Evans, I don't think she was there either, but Katie was there. And I actually spent most of that day with Katie Rasmussen. I went with her to her house after they closed school. We said a prayer. The second tower fell while we were right before the bell rang.
You're like, it didn't work. The prayer didn't work.
Well, the second tower fell. A girl I was friends with had run out, and she screamed like, the second tower fell, like, oh my God. And then like it went around that like one girl's brother lived in Manhattan. So like she'd been trying to call him and couldn't get in touch with him. So like that was really kind of weird. And like, it just was kind of all like sinking in, like, oh my God, like what is happening? Like, this is really crazy. So, Katie lived closer to the theater because I had worked that day, and you and I met at the movie theater. I had to work at the movie theater. So we hunted at Katie's house. You know, her dad's a super conservative, so he was listening to Fox News. And a prop plane flew over her house. I remember this really clearly. So a prop plane flew over her house, and you know, everything had been grounded by like, I don't know, probably 7 Eastern or 7, like very early in the day. So we were fucking freaking out. And her and I ran out there, and we saw this little like two prop engine plane fly over her house. We were like, what? And then right after it were 2 fighter jets. I'm not even fucking kidding me. Like out of nowhere. I didn't hear them. I was just like, where are they even coming from? Like, like where are they even housed? And like, it really kind of sunk in for me, like, oh, this is an empire. Like, like this is like not only a police state, but a military empire, and it's well maintained, like without us even really realizing it if you don't want to think about it. So anyway, her cat shat in the fireplace. Her mom tried to give it a bath. That was just like very strange. And then I went to the theater. We sold one ticket to a Vietnam vet who said he
Yeah.
wasn't going to let them win.
What movies were out then? I remember I
I don't
worked.
remember what ticket he bought. I can remember so many details, but I don't remember what movie he went to say. I want to say Wind Talkers, but I think that's wrong. I think that came out later on. But yeah, what movies were out
That's
in
what
9/11?
I'm googling it right now.
Thank you.
Of course, there's no quick answer. Men in Black 2. No, this is all after. Come on, never mind. How could I do? Okay, box office.
Just do
9/11.
September 2001 box office.
There we are. Here we are. The Musketeer, American Pie 2, Jurassic Park 3, Shrek, Captain Corelli's Mandolin, The Curse of the Jade Scorpion, The Fast and the Furious.
The Fast and the Furious? God.
Yeah. I think that's right when I got hired, because August is when Fast and the Furious came out. I saw it at the theater, had my application at some point, then got hired after the movie came out. So maybe I worked post 9/11.
I'm trying to think who else was working that day. I just remember being there. I think Sam was the manager, or was the money manager that night. But I sat there for 4 hours. We sold that one ticket. I can't.
So
remember
nobody came in. Nobody came in.
Nobody came in. I mean, I think everyone was at their house watching the news, because that's what I did for the next whenever I could. But then it kind of changed, right? Like, it went from like the horror of it to who it was and who was behind it to like, I don't know.
There was like, I was, again,
It's
really stupid.
Right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was part of the group who like was making jokes too early because I didn't comprehend any of the severity of it, and like just really immature. But also in my classes, like, because we were also stupid kids, everybody was super racist and like, I'm gonna join the army. And the teacher having to be like, whoa. Like, that's what most of, like, I had like global studies. That was like a senior class. And I remember specifically all we talked about that entire year in that class was 9/11. And it was just the teacher being like, whoa, kids. like, you guys, I got to cover a lot of stuff in this one class here.
Well, I mean, I think I was already starting to sort of question, well, I mean, you can't be a Black kid growing up anywhere and not question the whole fucking American arrangement anyway. But we had an ethics class and a social justice class our junior year. So I remember that I was thinking that they were going to go in and, you know, use our Marines in the way that like they're portrayed in movies of like, oh, they're going to be like these SEAL like special forces, and they're going to go in
and get
and they're
like
going to
specific guys. Like, we fixed it.
It's just like, no, the country's being run by a Texan. And like also kind of in the background of it was like, you know, the last president to win an election without winning the popular vote was W, and he was just kind of like going there fucking subtly to to try to like catch the specific person. Like, no, they went in there and fucking bombed the shit out of it.
A random country too. It was like, oh, what? They had nothing to do with it? All right, well, we got them. We got them.
I mean, they got him. I didn't think we would still be involved in the conflicts there 20 years later, but
yeah. You froze on my end, I think. Maybe we'll see how the recording. Oh, okay, you froze on mine. So I was talking.
You froze a little. You froze a little.
We'll cut that part out. Whatever happens here, we'll just cut it right out.
We're already probably in a federal watch list for not being sufficiently patriotic. So,
Yes.
you know.
Hard day to be patriotic. You can't really, my angle, I'm not going to tilt my computer, but my sky is orange.
Oh, good. You got orange. I have it's kind of a grayish, but it's down from yellow. And it was a kind of a piss Christ yellow. I don't know if you know that work.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that color yellow of sky. And
Spend that type
right
of
now
day.
it smells like just the fucking funkiest white people barbecue. just out of hand.
They're just grilling white bread. It's like toast, but barbecue. I luckily haven't opened my door or window all day today, so I can't smell it. In case anybody doesn't know what. In case anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, our whole state is on fire.
I mean, can we though? I feel like we can pretty easily draw a line from the events that happened 19 years ago to today, right? Because in November 2000, this country chose the president who they wanted to have a beer with, right? Mm-hmm. That was the whole thing. Al Gore was boring, and you wanted to have a beer with. That was the whole thing about W. Even though I won't get into it. I'm gonna really try not to get into a rant right now. But we chose a president who was in the pocket of oil companies instead of a president instead of a candidate who tried to give a shit about the environment. And here we are, like we are literally living the consequences of an addiction to fossil fuels and carbon-based energy and fucking climate change. I mean, it's at our doorstep. If people don't come to after this, I don't fucking know.
Yeah. I think the answer is we just got to cut down all the trees.
You know someone's out there saying that.
Yeah. If we didn't have trees, we wouldn't be a problem, wouldn't it? Would it?
It's like, you know, someone suggesting it. I mean, it's been sad seeing like pictures from Eugene and also in Medford. Like, there are entire little towns in Oregon that they're gone.
Oh, for sure. One was called Talent, Oregon, and one was called Detroit, Oregon.
Phoenix.
In Phoenix, Oregon.
Or which one?
There's also
Phoenix is gone.
Yeah. It'll rise from the ashes appropriately, and hopefully it'll be something cooler. The crazy thing about these towns is they're like made out of like log cabins, you know? So it's like, just if a fire was coming through, it was gonna eliminate this place. But like, it's like I enjoy coming from a state that has those types of like down, like a crummier vibe. It wasn't even crummy. It was just a more original setting of Oregon, buildings made out of wood, blah, blah, blah.
To the earth, down home logger culture in Oregon, for sure.
But then like you go to any other country, their small little pocket cities are like ultra futuristic. And, you know, ours was made out of fucking logs and it burned down.
Well, and these are red counties too. So, you know,
it's crazy. I don't know where their tax money goes in a sense. Cause like, if you look at it, there's a huge amount of traffic right now of all these people trying to escape areas that they're being demanded to evacuate. And, there's really no roads or bridges in these areas. And it's like, fuck, you have to go down this dirt road for a while and that's it.
I mean, but you have to invest in infrastructure. And again, these people don't vote for the party that's for improving infrastructure. Mm-hmm. So
Portland even has really bad infrastructure because like there's still all the streets like by where me and Andrew grew up, all the side streets, any of the 70s, like a 74th, none of them are paved. They're just gravel roads with no sidewalks.
You have a little bit of that in North Portland, but not really. that was strange for me going to Southeast, because those houses tend to be priced better than houses in North and Northeast Portland were when I was growing up, at least. I do not think that is the case now, but I never understood why, because they always had sidewalks and always had, you know, street lights and kind of like basic infrastructure things that I thought made it much more pleasant to walk around. But I'm sure it has to do with redlining. You can only live as Black people in that certain little area of Northeast. So I don't know. I was always surprised at like how few sidewalks, and Beaverton's kind of like that too. Like, just places won't have sidewalks, or
Yeah, and so people are forced to kind of walk in the street.
you know, if you just drive right from, like, I mean, obviously if roads aren't finished, but like if you drive right onto the street from your house and there's no sidewalk and there's no, it's not community, you know, like sidewalks mean community.
Exactly, because anybody walking around is walking in the middle of the street or near, like, they just look shady, inherently look shady because the environment's shady.
Well, and then the dirt from the street is like, there's no separation between the dirt and the street. Like, the house I grew up in on Chase Street, there was a street, then you had a little like strip of grass, then the sidewalk, then your actual lawn in front of your house. And if you go to like Irvington or those neighborhoods, it's the same way. Like, there's a very distinct like separation between where you live, where you're walking, then some other stuff, then the street. A lot of neighborhoods in Southeast Portland, like Hawthorne area, like that too. But if it's just like straight there, it's like you're right as, it's like you're in the gutter kind of, I don't know. And yeah, walking around in the street, you look shady. But maybe it's like we were talking about before about you build infrastructure that reinforces poverty and stratification. Like, you can't ride your bike to Beverly Hills. And I'm sure they don't give a shit that their streets don't have sidewalks. But yeah, it's just, it's pretty fucked up right now. I mean,
yeah,
this is.
One thing I thought it was an even crazier layer to it all is now, like, multiple states are like Washington has multiple cities that have completely burned, and like I don't know what technically distinguishes a town between a city. So I don't know if these are technically cities that have been burned down, but like there are area populations, big populations that have burned down, and people had to move. So like, what's going to happen with voting? These are all like the three left coast liberal states are going to have like a hard time voting now. I don't know.
I mean, but I was reading on, I think it was one of the local outlets, like KLCC, or like one of Lane County's local outlets, and they're saying these fires in Oregon, about 100 or so of them were started by lightning, but 600 or so of them were started by human beings. I mean, really, guys? You had to have a smoke? I mean, this fire that started in California, this
the gender reveal.
fucking gender reveal party. Like, they didn't put the video on out public, which is probably good, because someone would have hunted these people down and sent them death threats or whatever.
I hope their kid's trans. I hope their kid's trans.
Thank you. Oh my God. Yes. Do you know the lady that invented gender reveal parties? Her daughter's gender nonconforming. So she's like, do you imagine what hell you've wrought with your fucking lame stay-at-home mom creativity? Anyway, no offense to my stay-at-home moms. It's a hard job, but seriously, they were there. Like, they said they had a smoke machine, and they were all gathered in like tall, dry grass to light it off. And I'm like, the concrete was right there. It was right there. What's the mystery?
Well, so that's the thing, is like, I think like those people doing that probably just didn't know any better, and they weren't thinking it through, because that's the type of error a few years ago you do. You die and then you know, or you learn from it and like you spread it around the community, but they're like so far removed from the people who do stuff and like, oh, actually, hey, dry grass, that they don't think about it. until it's too late.
I mean, that's
because also
I mean,
another
we've all
thought.
hooked up with like a like tea light or some fucking incense in our dorm room, and like maybe I just smoked weed for so many years. I'm just more fired.
Here's a perfect example. I won't say the names. I knew a kid who had a hookah and another kid who I lived with, and the hookah spilled, like you put rest coals on top of foil that like heats the shisha, which we had marijuana in as well. And the coals fell on the carpet, caught the carpet on fire. My roommate grabbed the coal with his bare hands to stop the fire, but obviously hurt his hands.
Right.
Because I don't think it's like, we don't deal with fire in a real capacity. So like we don't think
That's
about
true.
like, because alternatively, another thought about this is that like previously in other communities, everybody was trained to be a fighter, and they would do like as rudimentary and like not effective as what we have today, but like just make a huge human chain, pass buckets of water, fire brigade, and like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true.
and these are the communities that like should have probably just had that in mind, because there is no large firefighter presence, because there's not a lot of tax dollars, because everybody's so spread apart and they don't even have roads and yada yada yada. It's like, I don't understand how people didn't see this coming. And also I just hate how humans have, it's such an easy problem. Like, I mean, fire's crazy, but like there's so many of us here and there's a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
But instead it's like, oh, there's actually 100 people we're kind of having take care of this, and it's a lot for them, and boy, they're having a hard time, but you know, that's their job, and I'm just at
Well,
home.
I mean, that's true. It's not a new problem either, but I mean, look at this year has been a, a pageant of problems that people can't seem to come together to solve. I mean, first was the pandemic, which I know we didn't want to make the whole podcast about, you know, the most obvious things, the pandemic and the election, but it's become impossible to ignore. Like, so we couldn't come together on how to solve the pandemic. We can't come together on who maybe knows more than others. Like we treat everyone on the same level. Like, oh, guy commenting on register guard, my aunt Sally, my nurse, my doctor, and the head of the CDC. All of their opinions have the same weights.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's not good, guys. Like, we shouldn't be walking around like that. Like, some people just know more shit about some things than other people. It's not an offense to liberty to say that. And then the racial uprising or whatever it is that's happening after George Floyd, it seems to be calming down or on a pause, or I don't know. I mean, that was another problem Americans can't seem to come together to solve, and Black people are done trying to solve it. And then you have this with these fires. Like, this has happened the last 4 years. Every year it gets worse and worse and worse. So I really don't know what to do other than just be like, I'm sorry, I hope you had, I mean, I read about these people today. They were in Phoenix and their mobile home park has burned down. So they didn't have insurance on their trailer or on their mobile home or on the items inside of it, but they did have insurance on a 1965 Corvette they'd restored. I mean,
Which probably will net them more money than all of their stuff.
money.
Good for them.
But in the meantime, like, they don't have a place to live. Like, it's like
11% or 12% of all of Oregon has been evacuated from their homes at this point.
I mean, if you get evacuated, where will you go?
Well, that's the thing, is like, so Washington's burning on the other side of the river. If I get evacuated, there's literally nowhere to go, and I'm just going to burn. Like, I'm as close, like, basically you have to go to the waterfront maybe, because they have like a fire system that shoots the Willamette river water on stuff, which will, you know, probably kill you in a different way.
Yeah, seriously, make sure you're not really open.
Yeah, no open wounds.
Well, she didn't burn to death, but some of the Willamette River water got inside of that paper cut. Now she dead.
Ironically, still caught on fire, the wound.
I'd probably drive to the coast. I see it's smoky there, but
well, like it's on fire too. It's like, where would we go? That's been a thing I thought about. It's like, where would I go? And it's like, are you so? One thing, kind of in what we've been talking about, is like crazy. This crazy that this is politicized. Like people are like, Antifa cut the fires, and like, but then also on the other hand, Trump somehow, I don't understand the full story of it, but they are using Oregon's, I think they're called like Chinook helicopters, but the helicopter systems that we've used to put out fires, or for whatever reason, are in Afghanistan right now. So they're not here to put out our fires. And like, unfortunately, all the neighboring states are also kind of like, I don't think he recently took them. I think they've like had them. And it's just like, oh shit, Oregon's afire. We wish we had them. But like, so people on the other end are like, well, what the fuck are our helicopters doing in a different? It's like such a political thing. And meanwhile, everything's burning and I'm not helping. I'm just sitting in here talking, but.
Well, how could we help? I mean,
Grab a bucket.
That's the shitty thing about all these like issues, like all these like goddamn systemic endemic issues. Like, what the fuck can you and I, BJ, do about goddamn police unions with too much power? And other than vote, obviously, get out and vote, people. Oh my God. Or try to use less energy, or wearing fucking masks when we go outside. Like, other than those goddamn things, like, what can you and I do right now to like fix any of these things? Ain't shit we can do. Like, I'm sorry to be that way, but like, at some point, like, you got to come down from the like idealism like high and just be like, oh, this is shit is fucked. I can't solve it myself. I can vote, but I had to ride those motherfuckers the entire time. Like, I don't know. At a certain part of me, honestly, fucking burn it to the ground. Like, I feel like animals and frogs and cats and all that shit, they'll be fine. Like, you know, we only have to be out without air for 3 minutes for it to be a wrap. So,
yeah.
I mean,
and that's another weird thing about the fact that it's trees burning. Like, what if, like, I'm sure there's like a scientific equation somebody's put and they're like not trying to talk about it, but it's like, well, if a certain amount of these trees burn down or go away, then will there be enough oxygen for the humans to breathe?
I mean, trees do generate oxygen.
And like, but like, there's very few forests left, and like the ones that are left are on fire right now.
Yep.
Amazon's been on fire for like 2 years.
Well, and the thing too about like, sorry, coming back to this helicopter thing, is there's a fire season, right? Everyone knows it's the time of year when it gets hot and when there's a risk of fire. So honestly, like, it's kind of hard for me to be like, oh, I should have these fucking, and it's so, I mean, to really tie a line between 9/11 and today, why the fuck are helicopters in Afghanistan? And would they be there? We're not for some shit fucking 19 years ago.
Exactly. That's a very good point. It's a very, very good point. I pulled up an article.
9/11, you're old enough to vote. Please vote. Not for some fucking Republicans. Oh my God.
So yeah, it is 4 Blackhawks and 6 Chinooks, which are the helicopters that help put out the fires, are over there. And the crazy thing is, like, yeah, why ours? We're so much like, why isn't it an East Coast state for one? Maybe all of them are, but like, if our military is so great, why aren't we using those ones? But I don't know. A good point that the helicopters wouldn't even be over there in the first place. Oh man.
For 9/11, 9/11, 9/11,
9/11. Never forget.
Never forget. It's also kind of funny to me because I don't know if it's deep down on my Instagram, but I was coming home from Springfield. I was riding my bike home, and I went under there's a railroad track that before you take the Oxen Bridge. Do you know where that is?
Yeah.
So I was coming up from under it, and I was like, what is this train? And like, there must have been tanks. Each car was a tank. And it was probably like a good solid 5 minutes. each one tanks.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they weren't like new tanks. I don't know. I'm not up on my tank models, but they looked a little aged. But just like watching them all go by, one after another after another. I mean, there must have been at least 200. I was standing there just waiting, looking for the end. Like where, I'm like, it's not surely it's not all just tanks. It was all fucking tanks. And just like, how do they have the money for this? Like they always have the fucking money for this shit. But they don't have like really, guys, like, we use this for our firefighting apparatus, our goddamn emergency infrastructure, and you didn't think that maybe you should leave, I don't know, maybe at least 3 of the Chinooks behind? Like, what the fuck is going on in Afghanistan that you wouldn't have to kill me after you told me that you need all 6 of them? I mean, that's 10 helicopters. What kind of motherfucking A-team shit is happening over there? They need 10 helicopters. I need to know. Like, I mean, I'm helping pay for it. I'm helping pay for it. I did not get all of my money back. I did not get all my money back in either my tax return or my stimulus. I was like, okay, thanks. So where the rest of the
money? Do you think if school goes a full year or half year, they won't do this? I don't think they're gonna do this. But do you think people will uprise and be like, hey, I want my fucking money back? Because like Oregon and Portland specifically has a lot of taxes withdrawn for the schools, even though the schools are still shitty. But the citizens are taxed greatly for them. And I don't think anybody's going to get their money back.
I don't think they're going to get their money back. And I don't want to sound like an anti-tax activist, because my money went towards some valuable things. Like, half of your tax dollars go towards Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. And like, these are important safety net programs. I just, from having worked on the darker side of finance, doing collections, and now working in mortgage servicing, a lot of people rely on that for their income, to stay in homes, the money comes back into our economy. It goes right back into the pockets of wealthy people. So I don't think,
that money is like boomerang money.
I don't think they'll get it back. What?
That money is like boomerang money. It's like the agency's throwing it back to people, but they just catch it right back. It's like, oh yeah, here's some money.
Well, I mean, I once collected money from this lady who lived in Medford, actually. She's a really nice lady, and she had some cognitive delay. I don't know if she's born with it or if it happened later in life,
or maybe it's Maybelline.
Or maybe it's Maybelline. But she's very nice, nice color, and I'd be like, okay, Annie, that wasn't a real name, but we'll call her Annie. I was like, Annie, so, you got this credit card at Walmart, and it's $800. Do you think you can pay it back? And she's like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yes, I'm going to pay $50 a month. So she'd pay her little $50 a month, and she worked at Goodwill, but like, most of her money, she got like $600 a month from Social Security, disability, and then she got a little bit from her Goodwill job, like $200-$300 a month, and then her rent was like, her like trailer rent was, I don't know, $400. So like 50% of her money is going into housing, and then whatever little means she had. So I got my little $50. She eventually paid it off, but God, I hope she still has a house. Yeah, a lot of people. So you think about it, like where the money's going, like whoever owns her property or the land that her mobile home is on, they're getting some of that back. And they're probably someone who already has some means. She paid back her Walmart loan, which is owned by a multinational corporation. I mean, the money wasn't coming to me personally. So yeah, they're getting their money back, and they probably already wrote it off as a loss because they lent credit and couldn't get it back. So the whole system's, I'm listening to this book now called The Finance Curse. It's by Nicholas Shaxson. He also wrote a book about offshore tax havens. But he talks about how much of our economy is now in the financial sector and financial services, and how it's actually not good for the economy and not good for working people, and increases inequity. Get my thoughts together a little bit more about that before I talk about it more, but I think that definitely kind of ties into that too, of just like, we're always looking at the short term, right? We're always looking at, the short term gain in the society. And so people like, they get their little $1,200. They're like, oh, I got $1,200, or, oh, I'm going to get my money back because I didn't pay for all of school. And it's like, well, yeah, but that means your school system is underfunded. And the only other option is what? A private school, which is going to be more expensive, or a voucher school, which is going to be also more expensive and probably not as good.
It's
So
insane that some of those schools cost the same as colleges. That's like the most mind-boggling thing.
And they're not good. Like a lot of them aren't.
They're just what old school used to be.
Yeah, exactly. So just like I don't understand people. Americans have just gotten so short-sighted and so wrapped up in their own individual shit that they're really wanting their money back for taxes, thinking there's a better deal out for them. I mean, St. Mary's now that's where I went to high school, is $17,000 a year. So I mean, go ahead, sure, take that to take your fucking tax money, see how far you get with that. Like, you're really not going to get very far with it. I don't know how much the cost per student is at Franklin. I look that up right now, but
well, since it's free, how would they measure that? Just based on like how many kids are going?
Yeah, they do have a cost per head of students. Sorry, I have to turn my monitor around. What is the cost per Portland?
I'm gonna look in my thing to make sure there's nothing weird in my. All right.
Wow, 48,650 students. That is nuts.
It is nuts.
So the operating cost of $13,678 per student. If you're in Salem, their operating cost is $11,332 per student. And have more students living in poverty.
So wait, how many students go to Franklin? Or was that 48,000?
That was for the entire Portland public school system.
Okay, that's what I figured.
How many were there when you were enrolled?
I think there was about 2,000 per class. Like it was like 1,800, 1,900, 2,000. So like, what's that, 8,000 kids?
Trying to find it now. Do they hit you guys up for money, or is that just a private school thing?
Well, no, and that's the funny thing. So to our listeners, you and I have had a few jobs together. Our first one at the movie theater, but you got me a job at AGP, the annual giving program, where we did fundraising for the University of Oregon. Ironically, they haven't called me either. Have you ever been called by them?
They have called me. I don't think
I won't now, but for like years I was anticipating. I was like, ooh, I can't wait. I'm going to like take the kids' whole shift, just give them fun information, keep them, and then I'll give them whatever. So like, ultimately it's a good shift. Like you'll get the money, you'll get the reward, right, but they won't have to call a bunch of cranky other people because I'm going to take up all his time. But now it's been so long that I'm like, fuck them.
I don't think so I think I told you I have a couple of friends from 12-step friends who work in like facilities over there, the U of O. And I know they probably aren't working. So I'm afraid one of them called me. She called me earlier this week, and I'm afraid to call her back because that's her healthcare, her everything. And I don't know how long she's been furloughed now.
There has been certain people I avoid talking to because like I'm assuming their situation's bad, which is awful. It's like that's when I should be reaching out, but I'm like, I just don't want them to have to go, yeah, things are bad. Like, yeah, shit.
No one wants to hear people hear that things are bad, because I mean, I think what's shitty about it is I'm not in a good spot to help myself. So I don't know. But she's my friend. I've got to call her, and I want to know what's happening at the school, because that is, again, a lot of jobs, and like that trickles out too, right? Like if those are the good middle class jobs and people aren't working and people aren't shopping and people aren't going out to eat, just to kind of spirals out from there. And Eugene's already.
Yeah, I would imagine, because the economy only functions like 9 months of the year, really, because then 9 months
Yeah.
or the rest of the months the kids are somewhere home. Here it's weird because like, I'm not that far away from cool spots. I'm not in a cool area, but most of the businesses are gone. Like they gave up months ago or now giving up. And it's weird to just walk around because I'm like, it's only going to get worse. So like nothing's coming anytime soon. Now there's like windows are being broken out and like graffiti. And I'm like, oh, all right. Here we go.
I love you. I was going to say you should ask for a decrease in rent because
Well, that's the funny. They are asking for an increase, which is the.
Of course they are.
Of course.
Based on what?
I don't know. We need money, and
you got a job, right? Got that job? You're doing all right.
What about me? Fucking give you a place to live. Come on.
I'm sorry, you gave me? That's fucked up. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's weird because, my building right under my window is the thing that has graffiti. But the thing that makes me feel weird is so earlier, you can kind of see it. I spray painted this thing I'm working on. It's gold.
Oh, yeah, you're a robot.
So like in the parking lot, a bunch of people saw me spraying it to like paint it gold. The graffiti on the side of the building is gold. So I'm assuming everybody just assumes I did it because it's underneath basically under my window. And
right.
Ow.
Well,
I feel compelled.
This is where your white privilege will work out for you.
Yes.
Come on, officer, it's me.
I wouldn't do anything.
Just talk your way out of it like you did at my 21st birthday party.
They made me drink.
My friend made me.
They made me drink.
I spat it out. They made me drink.
But it's more like, they made me drink.
Well, that's why you were so drunk. It's because they made you. Oh my God. They really bury their enrollment here on Franklin's website.
A weird thing is like, I've probably already mentioned this to you, but Franklin obviously used to be a shithole, and now it's like the nicest high school in town. And so when so like when people, they're like, oh, you went to Franklin? Whoa, that's such a nice school. And I'm like, no, it wasn't.
I wonder what the politics is behind that, because someone has to like get in the face and be like, I need more this and that. God, they have a pretty good like student to faculty ratio is 20-1.
That's pretty good.
Students holding a master's degree, teachers holding a master's degree or higher, 79%. Still not saying how many students though.
The teacher, how can somebody teach without a master's degree?
I don't know. Maybe they started earlier. Like,
does that count? Like, is that faculty count as like a coach who maybe, I don't know. I just assumed.
How do they? They've got all their teachers. What was it? Mr. Rabchuk?
Yeah, he teaches. He. I don't think he's at Franklin anymore. Basically, all the good teachers got plucked to like Lincoln. Lincoln just cherry picks all the good ones.
Oh, really? I know Lincoln was like, in the Catholic schools, if you weren't going to go to one of the 5 Catholic schools, then Lincoln was like the acceptable public school. But it was funny. I was having dinner at the Fortes, and Sarah's dad was like, yeah, St. Mary's does well on the topics that don't cost a lot of money to teach, like English, history, things like that. But if it's a lab and requires like actual money, they're not doing a good job because it's so expensive. So like we had a really shitty biology teacher. We had a good chemistry teacher, but again, those things are expensive. It's expensive to have a lab. It's expensive to, buy all the equipment and things like that.
My chemistry class, I think we had one little gas sink. It looked like a sink, but it did something with gas. There was one for the teacher. Everything was off the whiteboard, and it was one of the only classes in my entire life that I failed, and it was just because I didn't have glasses, so I couldn't read anything that was going on. So I just was like, I don't know what's going on in this class. You froze.
You didn't have your own like Bunsen burner and things like that?
No. We literally just watched the teacher do stuff, and he talked about it, and then yeah.
That sucks. Chemistry's very
We had a good wood shop, though. That was the focus of the school. And automotives. We had a good automotive program.
Yeah, there's a bright future for woodworking in a world that's highly flammable.
Yeah. Well, do you know what's funny? I saw a bit of this off the internet and then kind of spiraled it in my own head. But like, so everybody's after diamonds and gold and stuff, which are like in a galaxy or like abundant, so abundant. But it's like wood's fucking rare.
Yeah.
Wood might be the rarest thing in the fucking galaxy.
Here we are, smoking it on up. Yep.
Smoke them if you got them.
Turning them into paper. Why do we have plastic paper? Like it never made sense to me. There's so much single-use plastic shit. Well, this isn't single-use, but.
No, oh, do you know what's the worst? This is going to be the next fucking single-use horse shit. These masks.
Yeah. I already see them among the litter. You know what's crazy, though? If you went to these garbage patches, you could probably excavate them for like, I'm sure all the like plastic masks are on the outside or on the top.
Just imagine, so like it's been almost a full year of this, like because it basically started like November, basically in other countries.
Yeah.
And basically, somebody might wear a mask multiple times, but gloves. An employee of any store is at least wearing 6 gloves a day, because like you know, wear it, break, take them off.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. So 6 gloves a day for every employee in every single business for an entire year is more waste, probably collectively, than all of 2019, which was probably a pretty wasteful year.
Well, when you think about why, too, I mean, I feel bad because I'm kind of on that other side of it. Like, I live alone, and I don't like cooking, so I'll eat out a lot. And like eating out, I know, contributes to waste, and it also hurts your health because the food isn't usually as good for you. So everyone's kind of, but I do that because of work. I don't want to put more time into like doing more tasks for myself. I want to take that time working and then relaxing. So it's, again, a bad externality of how our economic system is set up, is that everyone just kind of wants to relax where they can or get a break where they can because you work so hard. But it's obviously leading to badness. I mean, this is what's crazy too, is like a lot of people drove less this year, right?
That's what I was saying. Like, there was such a nice few months at the very beginning for us where everybody's like, oh, the dolphins are returning to this, and like these sea creatures are coming back because and then you could see the mountains in India, and like it felt like it was going well, but it's like, no.
Nope. Dolphins are like, we wanted to see it before it burned down.
Did you see what the air quality was in Oregon? Some spots, like in Portland, I think it's like nearly 400, but some spots are over 500. I want to Google what's the worst air quality possible.
I did a AQICN. Right now, the air quality in Beaverton is hazardous. It's at 304.
So hazardous is the highest level. Great.
Yeah, I'm not really doing much hanging out outside.
This would trigger health warnings of emergency conditions. The entire population is more likely to be affected. Yeah, it's literally the highest level. Tight. And so it's just a beautiful little thing about life is like Oregon had the best air because of the trees. Now it has the worst air because of the trees.
I mean, it's like people who live in a floodplain, though, right? Like, I feel bad for these folks with their homes out in the middle of, they live out there because they want to get away from the city. But I'm just like, you're also in the middle of a goddamn tinderbox. Like, things have to balance themselves out on the planet. Like, you can't just use all the plastic you want and eat all the fucking beef you want and drive everywhere, even though it's only a block, because you don't want to be outside of no air conditioning, and then think nothing's going to happen from it. Like,
the interesting thing from all this is like clearly something's going to happen, whether it's like we all die, which is probably the realistic thing, or people get their shit together and start behaving, but so say they start behaving, fingers crossed, people will look back at this time, and this will be the most gluttonous time in human history, I believe, unless, we lose our way again, which
I don't think we're going to get it together.
Neither do I.
I think we're going to use the oil till it's gone. I think we are going to choke ourselves to death on this planet.
For sure.
I think if I had the money to get some property with a well, I would, before Nestle fucking steals it. We're just doing whatever I can to get near like potable water and with a good armory for myself, because I don't think that people are going to do what's right. And I don't know. Are people our age more cynical? Like, are we just kind of more?
I don't know. I
don't know.
I feel like young people that I interact, like 22 to 25, 26, 27, they're all very depressed. But I'll be like, why, like, everything seems to be fine. And I think it's all as essential things like the climate. It's like, everything's fucked. I'm not going to own shit. Everything's just fucked. So they're not cynical. They're just sad. And then the people above us, I think, are like Gen X is very cynical. And then I would say baby boomers are, they got it the best. They had the best run of all of it. They lived better than any king in history.
I mean, and they're also, I think, a little bit delusional. Like, all that peace and love shit and all that fucking free love nonsense, they just think somehow it's going to turn out. Or they know how bad it is, and they're like, well, at least I won't live to see it. If I hear one more fucking baby boomer say, well, I'm just glad I won't be here to see it. Just like, oh, yeah, I'm glad. Good. I'm glad. It's just continuing to work out for you. Just perfectly. I'm just a little ball for you.
We should be able to shoot him or cut him. And it'd be like, here, let me fucking help you, buddy. Let me get you on your way. All expenses paid, fucking vacation.
Fucking one-way ticket. I mean, seriously though, like, my aunt would do that a little bit, where she'd be like talking about how much money she made in 1985 and comparing it to me in like 2010. I'd be like, well, that was what I made, and it was fine. And just like, all right, I can't do this with you. I won't do this with you. Like,
it's just stupid to like read like Jack Kerouac, and he's like, and I bought another car and drove across the country, and then I crashed that car and I bought another car and I drove across the country. It's like, fuck, man. You bought 2 cars in a year?
And he's like actively a drug addict. Like,
yeah. It's like, how's he able to buy 2 fucking cars in a year? It's not even working. He's just driving across the country.
I mean, what did he do on the road?
Nothing.
He picked cotton in one chapter, didn't he?
I don't know.
I think there's one chapter he picks cotton, and he was like looking at the people picking their fingers, or like their fingers, like their black fingers picking the cotton, and he was like, oh, they're made to pick cotton. And it's just like, fuck this book. Just throw it over the shoulder. I had it somewhere. I don't think I have it anymore. I'd have to look around. But yeah, he was actively a drug addict and really didn't do much work, but was always crashing cars and buying them and buying new ones. I remember that. That was all
Uh,
his strength.
and then like I think I mostly like thinking also of the electric Kool-Aid test of like things they did, because like in my head, all they did is go to like small towns and like goof around and like
Yeah.
weird people out. To spend a fucking years of your life just goofing around. It's like, cool.
Well, and
I would love to do that.
I mean, in a sense, though, someone from the outside would say we have done that, right? Like, because of the internet.
Yeah.
And because, we don't have families. Like, anyone who served in World War II would be like, you kids are fucking goofing around. And be like, yeah, I know it looks like that, but I don't know. I keep talking over you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. Yeah, just it'll be great when they're all dead. Do you think there'll be like young Republicans?
Oh, there already are young Republicans.
Yeah, but like I don't think it'll be a thing. Like I know they're like a small group because like their parents are smart and Republican, whereas like most people who are dumb and Republican, I feel like their kids quickly go, oh shit, this sucks.
I mean, I think some do that. I think some, though, buy into it. I mean, look at that Kyle Rittenhouse kid. He obviously got red pilled pretty hard. I think there's an entire subset of like angry white boys who are like, who, yeah, maybe sense all that's happening. They sense that this economic system isn't tilted towards them, even though the media kind of acts like it is. But less and less so. I think that there's major existential crises bearing down upon us. And what better way to put your head in the sand about that than to be like, oh, well, all this stuff is fake and made up by liberals, and everyone just get back to work for me because I'm a white man, or I will be a white man. I mean,
it's crazy. Another layer of 9/11 really rippling through right now is that it was like, obviously there was a Kennedy, and even sure the Lincoln assassination had conspiracy theory attached to them, but like none like 9/11 had, that's still kind of questioned today, and it just really spun off conspiracy theory.
Oh, for sure. But you now have the internet. I mean, one of my favorite places in Eugene was Smith Family Bookstore. And I love to go there and see all the, like, they had a section called conspiracy theories. They're just all these books about, or they had a section on the Kennedy assassination, and there were hundreds of books written by tons of different people about the Kennedy assassination. But now you have the internet. So people can like get information quickly and produce information fairly quickly. The quality of it varies, but I think that is why you have so many conspiracy theories that just flourish, is because, you and I could probably sit down and make up one right now. We're creative people. It's like, and it would probably get some traction. I mean, I don't think people have a lot of
somebody has done that with Back to the Future. I won't try to play it or anything, but I would just want to look it up.
Oh, the Back to the Future conspiracy theory about 9/11?
Yes.
I've heard of that.
It's a perfect example of, okay, I can't find it, but a perfect example of something that like shows you how you can believe, like you can spin any amount of fact to convince somebody that something happened.
Oh, totally. I mean,
my conspiracy theory that I wanted to, like, I'm too lazy to craft it, but I think it has like the people who are into conspiracy theories would run wild with it.
Yeah.
Is the idea of a chaos beam. And like maybe it's a positive negative thing or just a negative thing, but the idea is that like on September 11th 2001 a chaos beam struck Earth perfectly in New York, and then whatever is on the exact opposite side of New York, probably just ocean, something also catastrophic happened. It just was so small scale we didn't hear about it. But
No, I like that.
then it gives the idea that the conspiracy theorists can look up these dates and be like, oh, two bad things happened on this day. Oh yeah, this is what the beam went through. Here's the line. Like, they can go fucking nuts with that. Chaos beams.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. God, what would I make up?
No chaos beams on a flat Earth, I'll tell you that.
Now, I was about to bring up the flat earthers, but they make me angry, and I didn't want to give them any more power.
What the thing that I try to shut down every flat earther I work with one, and I just say this, like, so humans go everywhere, right? Like, people have, like, you can just on YouTube, people have gone and done the stupidest things everywhere in the world. How come one person hasn't done something on the other side of the flat earth, right? Like, you would think that, like, or a company would be like, travel to the other side. Like, there would,
Yeah.
it would be like, I would know how to get there and I would go do it, or whatever the thing would be.
Right?
And so, like, the fact that nobody's that good at keeping us from either making money off something or a moron from going to do something risky over there.
How does he respond to that?
I don't even think he really believes it. He just does it to really rile people up. He's like a troll.
That's, I mean, how empty is your life that your meaning is basically pretending you believe the earth is flat?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess I'm a troll in my own way. I mean, I feel like being an atheist makes me a troll a little bit because, well, especially in AA, because everyone's all like, thank God, by the grace of God, I saw the light, and I'm just like, I'm glad you are not in a gutter, like, for sure, but it's always a combination of factors. Like, I've never had a religious experience with like a God, capital G, but like I've definitely had like really beautiful experiences from other people. And like, that's a fellowship anyone gets from being in a like fucking group. Like, I'm sure when you're out there in the darkness with fucking snakes and wildfires and earthquakes or whatever, you're just like, I don't know about this Shiva guy, but I'm gonna hang out. You know what I mean? Like, and why the fuck wouldn't you? Like, you have nothing to gain by being out there alone, you know? But I don't know. I definitely, now I'm trying to think of what conspiracy theory I want to plant into the world. I think I want to pretend that Planned Parenthood is giving out punch cards.
I feel like that.
Then your fourth one's free.
I feel like the people who hate them would believe anything like that.
Oh, absolutely.
It would work too well.
I mean, you could even tell them that they're making a caviar out of fertilized eggs.
It wasn't Antifa that started the Oregon fire. It was a pro-life person start burning a Planned Parenthood. It was like the opposite of gender reveal. It was like no more.
He was pro gender reveal. He wants more gender reveal parties. I mean, yeah, good for these pro-birth Republicans and their ways. I
also love that those people who have that stance are like, every right is, or every birth is sacred, but it's like after like they've been alive for 2 minutes, it's like, no, fuck you.
No, totally.
Do it on your own.
Are you for? Oh, I'm not for anything for the mother or helping children.
There has like the sci-fi author in my head has solutions to the problem, but they're all equally horrific because I sort of get both sides thing. Like, I do think it is a shame that whatever, like, we don't know what life is, and if something's going to be alive, it's fucked up for somebody to end it based off laziness. Not necessarily always laziness, but like they just don't want the kid, and like most of those situations aren't always the best. They're just like, I just don't want a kid, and this is an option, so I'm gonna just fucking do it. But like, obviously there's been plenty of abortions that either have saved people or prevented like rape babies from being born, like really good reasons for it. But like, in my head, it's like, if you don't want to raise the kid, then you don't have to. And that can take that burden off. But then what does the kid do? It's like, well, he's got to be in the army.
I mean, yeah, like,
and then the military can take care of them because they have all the fucking money.
I'm curious now how much I want to share in my own personal background with this topic, but something like 35% of women between like 18 and 40 something have had abortions. A significant portion of those women are married and already have children. So the decision they're making is usually based on they can't afford another child and they couldn't get access to good birth control or, you know, all those other situations. I personally think the option has to be available to people. I have crossed that bridge. I guess I was maybe laziness, but I looked at the stigma of having an abortion. Stigma of being a single. These people who are really against it, I don't see them out there adopting Black children who are much more likely to end up in foster care. I don't see them voting to provide systems to support, you know, single mothers or new mothers or any kind of child, really. We don't have universal daycare. We don't have universal preschool even. The amount of money you can end up paying in preschool and daycare alone could send you into poverty. So
yeah,
until we really take a good look at the systems, abortion has to be available. It's just
for sure. And the weird thing
if you
about
want capitalism and Dago of colors. Sorry.
The economy, this is going to be an odd thing to take a look at in the future because obviously a lot of kids are going to be at home, so a lot of parents are going to have to be at home. I know certain companies are allowing that. Most of them probably aren't going to be cool, but like the financial burden of children is going to be like a super real thing in 2021. That'll be like the theme of the year.
Well, when people our age already were having less children anyway, or we're having children much later. So they say you need, I'm gonna Google this, but how much money to raise a child to 18 years?
I would say I need like $4.70.
So on average, it'll spend $285,000 by the time a child turns 18.
How much?
The largest expense is housing, followed by food. The cost of childcare varies widely and depends on where you live.
How much is it?
About $285,000.
Jesus.
That's on Investopedia. It's a lot of money. I mean, if you have 2 children, that's $500,000. That's half a big M.
Yeah. And it's
into it.
None of it has to cost that much. None of it. So like, I've gotten in arguments with girls I've dated about this. But like, if I had a kid, right, up until like, so like, I won't say their name, but a friend of mine who has quite a bit of money, and his wife does not work. The wife will like purchase outfits for the kid, and they like take photos and stuff, and like a tuxedo for the kid. And it's like he's gonna grow out of it in 3 months or whatever. It's like a, you know, but say it's like a $30 thing, but like they're just $30. If I had a kid, it's going to wear like whatever's comfortable, not a fucking burlap sack. But the idea is it's in a burlap sack up until it's going to school. Like I'm not buying outfits for 5 years. Like it fucking makes no sense. Does not need to look cute. I can make it look cute. It doesn't need fucking nice stuff. Also, not getting any form of like it. A kid only knows what you give it. That's the thing that so many parents don't seem to realize, right? And so like parents
I
will.
can't wait for them to go up because of this.
Yeah, bring it. That's the name of the show. Send us hate mail. So kids will like, I see this all the time. Kids are demanding soda. They need soda, and like the parent will give in. And like, who knows what the circumstance that the parent needed to use the soda in the first place? But they introduce soda to their kid. Their kid would not know what soda is up until a certain point. As soon as they're in school, they're going to know what it is. So then you just have to do it, because if they don't do it,
or childcare.
exactly. Well, so that's the thing. Is like I would make like, and that's what starts the arguments, because some of these girls were Latina, and like their grandparents would love to give them ice cream, but like in my head, it's like, my fucking kid does not eat ice cream until he's in school, because otherwise, all they're gonna want is fucking ice cream. And it's like, and I don't blame him. I want ice cream right now. But when
you're fighting with an entire Latino family and be
because the thing is, they would do it anyway, and then I would be mad at them, and I would talk, but it would be introduced. The kid would want ice cream.
Yeah, and there's no way out of it after that. I mean, once you need ice cream. Once you get that first piece of chili weed. No, I mean, you're right. I definitely.
But that 5 years, I think, would cut a lot of that $285,000 out.
Really? I feel like.
Because so like I think about me with junk food. Like I didn't know about it until I was in school, but my parents let me eat and drink and see whatever, as long as other people were bringing it up, which was smart, because then I wasn't excluded. Because there's plenty of kids who couldn't eat the pizza; they had to eat carrots, and then so later in life, when they could make the decision to get the pizza, they did, and they're all drug addicts, literally. All the people who were like, their parents tried to like, no, you can't do it. Like they all turned out horrible. So like that is not a strategy. But letting them know, so you just got to cut off the amount of years that they're exposed to it, so they don't.
I mean, I think there's something to that, because my mom wouldn't let me. God, she wouldn't let me have Capri Suns. And I always but then I was curious about them. And then
exactly.
that first birthday party, when I could get a Capri Sun, I had one hit of that shit. Oh my God. It even affects me now. Like I was like, when it was 100 degrees recently, and I was like, it'll be good. I can't get some Otter Pops. I'm gonna get some frozen Capri Suns.
Were you a person who stabbed the straw through the top or the bottom?
The top.
Okay, I did the bottom, which was so stupid. That was such a boy move. Like, oh, I see how you're supposed to open it. Do it my own way.
I mean, I ended up drinking in about 3 seconds flat anyway, so I might as well try to slow my roll a tiny bit. But yeah, that was the boy way to do it. I was very much a girly girl growing up.
There are a few brands, like wine companies specifically, taking use of the Capri Sun package idea.
Yeah, no,
I really think drink industry is not realizing how many children of the 90s would be like, whatever's in a fucking bag like that would be like, oh, I'll drink it.
It's actually a very specific marketing shift of Alka Pops. I learned that in a substance abuse class back in college. But yeah, no, I've seen, house wine, they're in the can, they got the hand drawn, like
a lot of Otter Pop, wine-based Otter Pop things.
Yeah, like it's kind of strange, right? Because it's like those things are in those packages because your mom wouldn't have to clean up after you and like dirty a glass and whatever.
For sure, that's 100% why they did that.
But then like they're putting that into that packaging is set up that way because you are a child and you can't be trusted to be neat. Like,
yeah.
Shouldn't you have a little bit of balance and neatness when you're drinking fucking alcohol? Like, shouldn't you try? Like,
that is the beauty of a Capri Sun. You could drop it after putting the straw in, and probably none would come out. You could turn it upside down and none would come out.
No, I mean, you do have to really try to like make a mess
squeeze
of it. Yeah, I mean, you could squeeze it, but even with like. But then, like, it was so sweet and delicious, and you weren't going to get many, even like when you had you know, they get enough Capri Suns for everyone. Everyone's getting one at most. I mean,
Yeah.
I never was at a birthday party. You're getting three or four Capri Suns. So when you're fucking around playing with it, like,
yeah.
you're drinking that shit.
I knew this rich kid growing up, and basically, I feel so bad for him. I'm not going to say why, but one of the things that was fucked up is, so a lot of kids who lived like by me, we were like very close to 82nd, and so like when we'd hang out at his house, we could see our houses from his house.
Wow.
And it just was like shitty to be like, whoa, look at us down there. We're all the way up here in a nice house. And I always treated this stuff with respect because it was my opportunity to get to play with some of these toys that I wasn't going to ever get. But all the other kids purposely damaged all his stuff. They would throw his Ninja Turtles off the thing, try to break his trampoline, like just because they were poor and angry, just angry that they didn't have it. But in my head, I was like, I was used to like renting video games. So I was like, oh shit, it's like renting stuff. I'm learning how to use people. Life's gonna be cool.
My mom would always get mad at me because when other kids would come over to play, they would break my Barbies or my toys, and she's like, why do you let people break your toys? I'd be like, because I want them to like me. That was a life lesson of people that treat your stuff terribly don't really like you. And you shouldn't care if people like you. Which is, I think, hard to explain to a little kid, but that's
the thing is like, it was a lesson that my parents were trying to teach me, but I didn't quite listen. And then now I'm like, fuck. It's like, not only are all those people I was concerned about are fucking drug addicts or dead, so it's like, who gives a shit?
right.
But like, I'm never going to see them. So who cares?
True. But I mean,
I feel like the important thing, though, a quick lesson that came to my mind is you really just have to have your kid meet a bunch of people. So it plants an opposite message in the head, which is like, you're going to encounter a lot of people in this world and you're never going to see them again. So enjoy your interactions with them and keep good memories, but don't concern yourself of other things, because there's a good chance you're not going to. Because I feel like when I started getting real wild, it was when I realized that, and because I learned that too late in life, where I was like, oh, I can make a fool of myself because I'm never going to see this person again. And then little did I know, it's like, oh, since I'm only doing these horrible activities in such a small little radius of town, like I am actually going to see these people all the fucking time.
I mean, my mom would always say, no one thinks about you as much as you think about you.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, though, just to bring it full circle here, we're in this situation right now. We're facing so many situations right now because people are unable to take into consideration the feelings or experiences of others or the actual long-term impacts of their behavior. So you want to teach, I mean, if you have a kid, right, you want to teach them, like, be your own person, and you want to teach them right from wrong, but you don't want someone who's completely disconnected from their society or from the people around them. Sorry, my cat is being the worst. He's like looking outside, wanting to go out there to breathe in car exhaust, basically. George, your old ass lungs, I should leave him out there. I'm not gonna leave him out there. Trust me, it's the only thing I care about.
Hey.
I may care about you, but you're both hanging from the cliff.
I understand.
George would probably save you.
That is a good motivational poster. It's you, and it says "hang in there," and you're like saving the cat, and the guy's falling.
With my like empty pockets turned inside out. Just so everyone can know, even in a poster now where no one has to give a shit about anyone and everyone's kind of out for themselves, and it obviously isn't working. But I mean, how many tent cities do you pass on your way home from work?
So my work is directly across the street from a park that is a tent city. And then the other border, like my work borders, it's the Columbia Slough, which on the other side is another tent city. And then I take a freeway exit that the whole thing is a tent city. I don't know. It's crazy.
It's I mean, do you ever think it's kind of strange that you work in a place where if you enter the room, they're literally handing out food,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
you're across the way from people who are probably food insecure, or at least resource insecure because they don't have housing.
The thing that sucks in everybody's mentality of it is they're like, well, they all like the memes of like, oh, they have a drug problem or a mental problem, but like there's like a significant amount of them for sure, but like currently with the amount of people who are homeless now, obviously because of fire, but previously to like COVID loss of jobs and weird unemployment situations. Most are just normal people, and you can see it. Like the freeway one, they're all normal people. And like you also have to consider, like, sure, maybe some of these people stole tents from yards or by mart and stuff, but like most of these people own tents. It's like they had a middle class life and they did hobbies, and you see their kids hanging out with signs on 122nd trying to get money. And it's like, these are normal people. And the crazy thing that nobody's really getting is like, because all the safety nets and all the things are gone or like so depleted that like, this could be you at any moment. Like it only takes like 2 or 1 severe financial catastrophe to like, now it's you, you know?
No, that's true. I mean, I was kind of thinking about this too with this like crisis we're now facing with the fires. Like, if I really had to get out of here, like other than, some changes of clothes and my important papers, like everything else is going to be gone. And like, I'm looking at this picture now, my friend Kat, it's a wood press she made that she gave to me before she died. And I'm just like, it would break my heart to come back and be like, that's gone. All my books are gone. Like, everything else I could probably like get over it, but like certain things are, kind of important to me,
Mm-hmm.
even if they're just sentimentally important. So I don't know. It's just a complete breakdown. Like these social safety nets, you're right, they're gone. But it's not really, I mean, it hasn't really led to more prosperity for the rest of us. Like, are we really wealthier because they're not like low security mental health facilities, or there's less money available in our like social, like on our welfare systems? Like, I don't really feel like wealthier for that.
No, and in reality, it just makes us lower on the rung of, of whatever economic ladder there really is. It's like all those people that have fallen off the ladder. Now we're like on the very last rungs of it.
Right.
And like, it's like, oh, we're fine. We're on the ladder. Ah!
Even though there's not a rung below you. No, it's totally, I mean, that's something I think that's hard to explain to people that haven't been poor or haven't like fallen down or have only gone up. Like one of our friends is pretty mad about these protests, and she feels like the police aren't protecting her property, but she's only gone up. And like, I just kind of want to be like, well, you weren't far up enough for them to give a shit about your property. Like, I don't know how else to say that. Like, but just to explain that, like, the police aren't here to protect you. Like, they're not here to protect your property. They're not here to protect your person. Like, you could be literally getting assaulted. And if they had somewhere else to go with someone with more money or more like cachet for them, they will drive past you. Like, that's just how it is. So I don't like, I grew up, I think, pretty privileged, but I've also been really, really poor and like have barely gotten myself into a place of like comfortability now. So I feel like I've taken a tour a little bit more of like how people are down and out, especially living in Eugene where people are much poorer.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It's just wet. It's a wet pour.
yeah, I mean,
Like when you're inside of a poor place, it's like feels poor. Like that was a thing that I always talked about when I lived in LA, is like I'd go to like real bad neighborhoods, and like it was bad. Like systemically, like it obviously had so much more charged stuff than Eugene will ever have, but it always felt nice because the weather was nice. The building itself may be in a bad community or whatever, but like it's actually a nice home, and it's because it never was soaked with water and mold and like so I just never it never felt as bad because I was like, dude, I've been in places where you're just breathing fucking mold.
yes, I mean, that's those Lou Dons.
Yeah.
Eugene's the kind of place where when you go to the grocery store and the three people in front of you all have food stamps, or Oregon Trail card, people living in tents before the whole tent setting thing up here. I mean, tent cities
Mm-hmm.
are just a thing in Eugene. People living in folks' backyards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew a lot of people.
And the weird
But then
things.
people think, sorry.
No, you go ahead. What I was going to say was completely stupid.
All I was going to say, people came to Eugene because they have a lot of services to try to help people, both private and through their city government. So that's why people came there. It's a good place to be. Get a lot of travelers, or not travelers. They're not Romany. They're like just itinerant people. They come up there in the summer because it's too hot in California, and then they go back to California or Nevada in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably heading back down soon, if they haven't already. But Eugene's actually shut its shelters at 8. So I don't know if they're shutting shelters because they want people to get out of town. But I'm like, well, how are they going to get out of town? Like, where are they going to go? California? Like, just fucking shit show there. You know, how?
Do you know what was one of the most fucked up things I've ever like had to process in my life? So when I lived in LA, one of the places I lived was downtown, which is right next to Skid Row, which is like one of the most policed parts of America, and it's the original tent city. Like it's where like people, well, maybe New York also, but like it's like the stereotypical people around the burning barrel every other street. And so I knew this girl who she lived in Calabasas, was very rich, and had a lot of guilt because she would come and visit and like see all these people in horrible circumstances, and was like,
Calabasas is like the Beverly Hills of Beverly Hills, right?
yeah, it's like a gated community where like the most rich people live. So she had a lot of grief walking around the streets and seeing all this stuff when she would go home. And so we went around and tried to give a bunch of people clothes. And so we had all these clothes, and we tried to find a woman's shelter. So we went to all the shelters specifically because she had women's clothing, and she was specifically looking to give it to a women's shelter. And every single place was like, oh, there is no women's shelter. And we're like, that doesn't make any sense. We'll just go to this next shelter and ask what's up. So where's the women's shelter? Oh, no, this is men only. There's no women's shelter in Skid Row. So it's like, if you're homeless and woman, it's like, good fucking luck. It's like the most vulnerable, like all the other, like you go in Latin America, every bus in every country has cars for women only. You would like, if there was like homeless communities in those countries, like they would have women only shelters before they ever gave anything to a man. But like here in America, it's like, no, they can't. There's like, we can't have men and women because there's policing, and because of who knows what's going to happen. So we better just let them out on the streets so we don't have to deal with it.
That is nuts.
Yeah. And so like her and I having collected all these clothes for this purpose and being like, oh, and then literally just going around and like passing them out in the streets, and then really taking it in of like, this person has nowhere they can go. There's nothing, like the illusion of oh, you can just go down, take the services, work your way. It's like, once you're down there, like you're not coming back up.
God. I mean, that's true though. It's like, I mean, when I was staying on your couch, with you and Andrew, if many people's families hadn't come and helped me, what would I have done? Like, I mean, I guess I could have gotten a job somewhere in Eugene, maybe, you know, answering phones or working fast food, but it would have been hard to come up with enough money to get an apartment. It's hard to do that stuff. Every time I moved, it's always, well, every time I move, it's always a little bit financially iffy because you have to come up with first and last. And that's been true for me still. I lived with my friend Matey's mom for 4 months. She let me stay with her rent free so I could save up enough money to get a place here. And I had to keep George outside for some of it. And like, I had to kind of like, but that's just become part of it. I'm just like, oh, every time I've got to move, I've got to like, you know, have these phone calls and do these negotiations of like how I'm going to pay for this space and how I'm going to manage storage. And like, you know, just sort of this weird, I think of it as like when you're going across monkey bars, if you can keep your momentum going, you're fine, right?
Yeah.
But if you stopped, you're fucked. And you just have to somehow try to hold up your own weight and get your momentum going again to get to the next bar. And like, I think for some people, the bars are really far apart and they're like at an incline going up. So like, those people have to work.
White privileged people are on the monkey bars, and then like other people are on American Ninja Warrior, like fucking like, fuck.
On the fucking gladiator leaps.
Guys throwing medicine balls at him, trying to knock him down. There's a
Trying to,
bill!
like, oh, new tires!
Yeah.
No, I mean, so yeah, taking all this in mind, no way I'm gonna have a fucking family. Like, I know I should feel bad about having an abortion. I don't feel fucking bad about having an abortion. Like, it was probably the best financial decision I ever made. It was so nice, I did it twice. No, for real, I did. For the same reasons. I just...
Well, 2 more and you get a free one. That's what I hear anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to start photoshopping that sub club card. I have a pink Post-it over here. I could probably like...
What would the punch out be? What shape would it be? It'd be full...
a little fetus.
Okay.
It'd be like a fetus and they punch the head.
Oh.
Anyway,
state mail.
Here.
Do we have an email set up?
God, I don't think so. No. Did we really forget to do that?
We'll get it. We'll get it. But we're spinning some stuff that'll get some hate mail. That's for sure.
You know what though? I don't give a shit.
Bring it, motherfuckers.
Let me tell you, all of you out there, I did not come here for you to like me. I didn't come here for me to like you.
I feel from just looking out my window, it's like, I got 30 days left. Like, I might as well have fun.
I mean, seriously, it's, these are, they feel like end times.
The funny thing is, like, that obviously that was the meme of 2020, is it felt like an apocalyptic year, but it really set in when everything was on fire and like the sky's red. It's like, oh yeah, now this is how I felt. This is all matching up now.
I mean, I actually looked up 10 biblical plagues. It's like, maybe I should watch the 10 Commandments.
Let's look at them. There's 10 biblical plagues. Because have you seen the locusts that are happening in the Middle East and Africa?
No, I did not know locusts had.
It's because of global warming, and it's the most amount of locusts So like if you Google image search it,
Oh,
there's like, it's like the picture is mostly locusts, and you can kind of see like a guy screaming in his hands off to the side, and he just looks like he's drowning in locust.
oh, BBC News. East Africa has seen its worst swarms of locusts in many decades. Oh my God.
So we're still waiting on a volcano. Good thing I live on one, Mount Tabor. Red algae, climate change. Okay, well, wait. God damn it. I was clicked on the wrong article and started reading. Okay.
Oh, I'm on Wikipedia.
Okay, so here's the one. So it's blood, frogs, lice, flies, livestock boils, hail, locusts, darkness, and death of firstborn.
So I feel like we're kind of experiencing darkness for 3 days.
Yeah. So
Um,
so I need boils. We crossed off death of the firstborn in this conversation.
nice.
Just frogs. We just need frogs, and then the apocalypse is complete.
Well, every time I go to Matey's house, they're frog because they're by the slough. Their frogs were all over my car. Oh God, they're big.
The locusts, yeah, it's disgusting.
I feel bad when plagues come to like the developing world because I'm just like, no, bring the plagues to the real assholes. Like, bring them here.
Yeah, like
Like, I would love to see some fucking locusts take over a goddamn Trump rally. Like, that would be the gift that keeps on giving, bitch. I'd be so down for that. Oh my God. Ugh. We sometimes get, I don't like moths or things like that.
butterflies. Everybody loves them because they're wings. But if you look at what a butterfly looks like, ugh.
They're kind of horrendous.
Yeah.
Like the eyes and the
everything
mouth.
about it.
Yeah.
A dick
I
for a
like
nose.
dragonflies. I feel bad because this dragonfly was by my car and it looked kind of distressed. So I poured some water and like I had to get it right under its mouth, whatever is proboscis, but it started drinking and I had to leave. So I left and the sun started beating down because it was in the shade of my car. When I came back, it was dead. And the water was on it. It was so sad. I definitely, it felt like a bad omen. Like,
I've made it a point that I will not kill a bug. Like, sometimes accidentally I do, but recently at work, so I'm a gas station attendant for those who don't know. And I was just literally returning the nozzle into the thing. Praying mantis was in there and killed it. And it fell huge. And it just was staring at me. I'm like, fuck, I didn't know you were up there, man. Sorry.
what was it doing in there?
I don't know. Yeah, I think so. Like, it probably was like, fuck, it's good up here.
Maybe he was trying to end it.
Yeah.
If he landed in the gas, could you have pumped it into someone's engine?
Yeah, maybe.
God, or in their tank, I guess. Can the tanks tell? Like, can the gas like pumpers tell if there's like bugs or shit in there?
I think like certain cars, like a BMW, says it has like on its gas lid, it says some information like it can tell something, but it's like I don't think so.
I mean, what do you fucking do? Like, after you pump the gas, you drive away. Like, oh, there's a mouse in there. Like, oh, thanks. I'm gonna sift it out, or.
Well, it's actually a good thing because when you run out of gas, it can run in the gaskets and keep your car moving.
I mean, gas is corrosive, right? Wouldn't it break it down after a while?
That's the thing. It's like I wonder, like, if a praying mantis's exoskeleton is something that could survive in gasoline. So then, like, some guy opens it up, is like, "What the fuck is in here?"
So what we need is a dead praying mantis and a cup of gasoline. I mean, if you put like, I have an old Starbucks, I'm a douchebag. If I put this inside of a like cup of gasoline, would it?
I think that's how you make napalm. Well, maybe it's styrofoam.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's styrofoam because plastic will eventually melt in gasoline. Certain grades of plastic, but styrofoam, if you just keep adding, it just gets thicker and thicker, and then it becomes like a flammable gel.
Oh my God. How did you know you could make napalm?
A kid tried to burn down the Burger King when I was in high school with napalm.
You've had your own little mini 9/11. We didn't have any terrorists in our class.
Yeah,
Girls
it
aren't
was.
way.
I think it was senior year too. So like, I wonder if he was inspired.
Oh my God. How did you guys find out about it? You have to tell me the story now.
So there's the anarchist cookbook. Like that was like a early internet thing. Was like that was like you couldn't go to Facebook. So he was like, what do I go to? Oh, rotten.com. And like, what else could I like? Oh, look up the anarchist cookbook and like go to Yahoo. Like there wasn't much to do on the internet.
Except look up the anarchist cookbook.
Yeah.
Was he in
I
your
was gonna. Yeah, he was in my grade. He was a smart, horrible kid. One other thing that he convinced me to do, because I had a printer. I never understood it until I was later in life, because I knew acid as the thing that burned things in movies, like alien blood. So like I thought of it as a corrosive substance. I was oblivious to the drug, despite my parents doing acid. We printed small little, he made the Chicago Bulls logo real small and then copied and pasted it on my computer and printed it. So it looked like acid blotter paper, soaked it in water so it had a texture to it, and was selling acid. And I never understood what the fuck he was doing until like 2 years later. I was like, oh, the drug. But also...
Was it actually acid, or was he just kind of...
No, he was just selling pieces of paper that were soaked in water.
Oh my God.
And then dumb kids were like, yeah, I felt it, man. Because I don't know what it is and what it does. So another thing he did is he stole the key off this. The teachers one of the teachers had a key that opened up the soda machines. Mm-hmm. He stole it, made a copy, and so he'd take all the money out of the soda machines and get everybody free soda. But
he's like a real criminal.
Yeah, he got caught for that and kicked out of school.
So if he got kicked out of school, how'd you find out about the Burger King attempted bombing?
Because I was with him.
What? Okay, you're not...
I had no part in it. Now that we're already on this list, I just was simply eating at the Burger King, and he was doing it. And we were like, well, dude, cool. Get him.
What? So you were at Burger King. Was it like you and Keith and BJ and Andrew?
Probably. So that a weird thing in our high school, we had 2 different lunch periods. So like there was a few years in school where I didn't have lunch with all of them, but I think our senior year we all had lunch together, which solidified our friendship. But I remember the only reason I hung out with this kid is because Andrew and Keith had different lunch period. So he was like just my lunch friend, but he had made the napalm and he had it in a big 7-Eleven cup, and it was just like this so-called napalm. Like I never saw him make it, but he like I knew how to make it, and he explained how he made it. So I was like, oh, he made napalm. But he just tried to pour it on the little device that like somebody comes and reads the like how much electricity Burger King has used, because like he thought it was some real important device. And he poured it over that and caught it on fire, and we ran away.
Oh my God. Did he get in trouble for it?
No. I'm sure he's dead now. So he got his comeuppance, but no, the last time I saw him was literally him getting kicked out of the school for the thing.
For stealing the soda machine money.
This was in metals class. We had a metal shop also at Franklin, and we're all the teacher who has suspects in mind who were in that class where it had to have been taken, because that's where the soda machine key was supposed to be. Basically gets all these kids, me included, in the class. And he's like, look, I think one of you guys did something pretty creative, but you're in trouble. Come up to me. Give me, like, everybody put your head down. Whoever has the key, come bring it to me. That'll be it. He's like, if you don't do it, then you're expelled. And so like everybody's sitting around. He didn't do it. And finally this kid just ratted on him. He's like, Brian did it. And he's like, open your backpack. And he found the key. And he's like, yeah, you fucking get out of here.
Oh my God. Why didn't he tell him himself? Well, probably because he's a sociopath.
Yeah.
I wonder what he's up to now. You're not on Facebook. Is he your friend on Facebook?
No. There's certain kids who like were either dropped out or kicked out of Franklin. I've never looked up because I was like, I can think of like kids who were doing well who ended up doing badly in life. So it's like, I can only imagine what happened to this kid. I'm searching him right now. I'm not going to say his full name though. But
Franklin was strange. Well, I guess St. Mary's is like that too, because you had kids who were like really came from good homes and went on to do really great things, and then there
holy
were kids
shit,
who fucking.
I found him.
Oh my god.
Looks like a decent guy. I'm not going to show you he has a nice job.
Oh, of course he does.
Had it, may have done time. But his profile picture is him and his wife and his kid.
Wow. Well, I mean, we hung out with lots of crazy kids at the theater who were just like, oh, I guess he's doing normal stuff now. I mean, Jordan was doing fucking crazy. He's doing well.
Yeah, he's somebody who I thought would have like died.
Oh, I thought he was a person.
For those who don't know, I'm not going to say his name, but he would basically, like, his claim to fame arguably is like we'd be walking wherever because none of us had cars, and he would just open up if somebody was at a red light near us, he would just get in their car. And he'd freak the fucking shit out of them, especially if there's more than one. They didn't know what was going on. Like he did it to people who didn't speak English, and that really scared them. They didn't know what he was doing. All of it, like the escalation of those types of things he would do, were like always like, whoa.
He drank a lot, and do you have ADHD? I feel like ADHD kids were always the fucking craziest. Like,
he had maybe like a fetal alcohol situation.
Yeah. Like just fucking not thinking their shit through, not 1 second.
And also, like, he was obsessed with, like, so he was the one who got me and Andrew drunk for the first time and got us to smoke weed the first time, but was just like adamant about it.
Yeah.
And then having done it, then being like, what's so cool about this? But meanwhile, 20 years later.
I don't know how to match you. So some water in it.
Yeah.
Leah's sober now.
What is this water bottle? It looks cool.
It's like
yeah, like peacock
daisies or little
jellyfish and DNA. It's all
it looks like that. I know. As fucking at Ross. I love me some Ross. It's like $8.99, but
I haven't been to a Ross in a while, but I love the meme of Ross is that most of the cool clothes is on the ground.
This is true, though. This is true.
A smart Ross shopper looks at the ground items. You don't neglect the ground items.
Collectively keep the prices low and also keep the service there happy, because they're not making much money at Ross. Like, you definitely don't want to get bitchy about it. Just like hang the shit back up. All right, those ladies are working hard.
That's the thing that I hate about just people in general, is that, like, who would ever in their right mind do that? Not hang it back up. It's like it takes the equal effort to do this that it is to just drop it. It's almost funner to put it on the hanger.
There's litter, or there's we worked at the movie theater. People were fucking pigs in the movie theater. I worked some floor shifts to get some extra money. Oh my God. Ugh.
So when we were talking about how do you get empathy in people, like there's that popular idea of like maybe there should be like a retail draft where, like in high school, like you're drafted to work some horrible jobs, so you maybe have a little more empathy for people who work bad jobs. There does need to be an element of that, because all of the excuses I can think in my head, or like jobs I can think of, like a movie theater or a cart return at a supermarket, like when it's the idea, or even putting out fires, when it's the idea is somebody else's job to do this, it almost allows the person who's requiring the job, or who needs the help of the person who's doing the job, they're exacerbating the problem in each one of the situations.
I mean, we did at St. Mary's twice a year. We'd have a Hands Full of Heart Day where you would go and do service around the community.
Almost sounded like you were about to say surgery. I was like,
your hands were literally full of heart.
I knew you guys were smart, but geez.
You were so smart. She just had so much confidence. Fucking dead on the table. No, we would go to we go to the grotto. The first one was we went to the grotto to replace Christmas lights in the strands of, because the grotto does a huge display and shrines at Christmas time. So we replaced, I don't know, hundreds of them and cut our hands with glass. You pull ivy, you go to senior centers and sing or like hang out with people. One time we went and I painted this lady's nails. Then she told me I did a terrible job. It was an older Black lady, so I kind of took it on the chin. And she's like, "You're not getting enough nail on the brush." And she's like, "Well, I'll fix them later." Like having those experiences of just being like, you're a fucking kid, like don't think much of yourself, were good humbling experiences. Definitely worked in the theater. But yeah, I worked later in my 20s. I was working while I was trying to go back to school. I was working at the Hilton in Eugene, cleaning rooms as a maid. It was a hard fucking job. I only did it on
people probably make a fucking huge mess out of the hotel rooms knowing that somebody's going to clean it.
People are, well, as the ladies always said, the nicest people are business women who are traveling alone because they don't really do much to the room and they always leave a good tip. The nastiest rooms were the M's. Oh my God, they had a suite of the rooms to themselves. I wasn't there to clean it until the end of the season, and I went in. It just was like fucking gross, like just shit everywhere. Socks, goddamn sunflower seed shells, just like stuff that just like you could try to put it in the garbage can. Like even if you got drunk and then woke up the next day and saw you did it, like you would try to put it back. And then they didn't tip them. They didn't tip those women after staying there for months. It was nuts. Like, and they're like a minor league, like a fucking farm team baseball.
And with that type of behavior, they'll never be major league. It's very.
Oh no, that was like the entitlement of athletes is always really stunning to me. Like, even in a town as liberal as Eugene that really doesn't buy into that as much, you still see that of like, they get the best housing. They walk around campus like they're, special. Everyone, like, there's a certain element of like working class townies who are like, oh yeah, I love my ducks. And I'm just like, why do you give fucking shit about the ducks? They're literally bringing nothing to your community. Nothing. Not a dime of that money goes to schools, churches, none of it. Like, not even a park. And they get so much money. I mean, BJ, you know how much money they get. So it just was like,
I hate it when people who aren't even affiliated with the college or anywhere near Eugene are really into the Ducks. It's like, that's even a lesser layer. It's like, come on, man. Like, what the fuck? Get another hobby. Get something going on in your life.
I mean, people like sports. I get that. And,
And sports are fun, but like, honestly, college sports are so minor league in terms of the play that you see.
Yeah.
That like, you're really just trying to kill time in your day if you're watching that shit.
I mean, and some people really, they like the school, I guess. I don't know. I probably went to 5 or 6 games my freshman year that I was like really trying to get into the whole thing. And I'm just not, I don't know. It's a really boring and cold way to watch football. Mm-hmm. Football's kind of boring. I will say that. Like,
it's better on TV, unless like I've never been to an NFL game.
I agree, it's better on TV.
Yeah, It's like maybe in Arizona in an NFL game, it's exciting because it's like maybe more comfort. But like rain, getting rained on in the cold, standing up. It's like I don't want to be doing that to do anything.
And your goddamn asses to elbows. Like you're
Yeah,
not.
exactly. So the last time I went to a game, uh, basically it was so packed on the stairs that I couldn't move my arms, and I was getting leaned forward, so I was stuck. And some girl said something about me, right? Like, but maybe it wasn't even pointing to me. It was anyway. Some guy started punching me, and I couldn't do anything. I was frozen, like my arm.
Right.
I was just screaming. I was like, "Stop it!" And he's like, "Fuck you, hippie!" And I like was wearing a duck shirt. I like was not a hippie in any capacity, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I had
Ugh.
just was enough.
Football games are a douchebag magnet. The last game I went to was with Katie, and it got so cold. It rained, and she didn't have it soaked through her sweatshirt, and she was cold. So we got her another sweatshirt. So she's wearing two sweatshirts. And there are these two guys behind us. They must have been like ROTC, but they were drunk. I mean, fucking open and flask out in the open, waving a flag, like it was like a Huskies flag with an American flag somehow, like, or don't tread on me, like as part of it. And they kept screaming, beat back the dogs, beat back the dogs. And I was just like, wow, I was like, what is going on? Like, and then Katie's like, those guys don't shut up. I mean, we were like as nosebleed as can be. And these guys were just fucking screaming. So they lost, the Ducks lost. They lost a lot that year. And so we walked back, and like everyone was super sad. It was raining.
Yeah, those like, walks. I enjoyed those walks more than I enjoyed the game.
The walks are fun.
It's just like a huge walk, especially in a loss when everybody's all quiet. It's funny. It's like everybody, oh, I'm having such a bad time now.
And it's stupid too, because like everyone's just walking back to like either go back to the dorms and drink, or I mean, it definitely was just like, it's part of the whole experience, right? You're in a big group of people, you go to parties all together, you're in the dorms all together, you go to games all together, like you're kind of sunk into that group. And like that was, I think, a new experience for me.
I miss walking on campus, just being in a sea of people like that, all commuting to different spots. Yeah. And like the feeling of like seeing like a pretty girl, like Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 as I walk by, not ever seeing, like I don't, like too far away, but like, oh, there she is again. I got to remember.
Yes. Oh my God. Tony and I would sit outside of the business school for BW, boy watching. And it was like, I feel like we had like such a special time in college, because it was right when Facebook finally left like the Ivy League and went to all colleges, but before it went to everyone. And so it was fucking fun to get on Facebook and be like, oh, who's that guy from, oh, there he is. Or who's that guy from the gym? And he always wears that pony shirt, so we'll call him Pony.
That was a old Facebook when it was thefacebook.com. That was so cool to like, because people would input their class, and then so you'd see all 36 people in the class. That changed college, but that doesn't exist. That's not a feature. You can't really hunt people, which is good. But like you could be able to like really narrow down, like there was like a search parameters. You could like type in, so I was just finding all sorts of people.
Yes. I remember that. And
the whole time I was doing it, I was like, this is creepy as fuck.
I mean, I definitely did some light cyber stalking. I think everyone was at that time, because the whole point was you just wanted to, you know, like they say on the social network, you just want to see pictures of your friends dancing or see their friends drunk at parties. Like that was the whole fun of it. I don't know. It was fun when it was college students. Like
now it's boomers. The boomer book.
Now it's the fucking boomer book. Well, even if it had just been something of like, you know, after you graduate, you can't add to it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is kind of like something you look back on and can't,
That would be nice. Uh,
It also used to show how you were connected to people.
How would I stay connected to all my Russian trolls?
I put Facebook in timeout until the election's over. I think I just can't.
It's an odd thing because I want to get rid of it. I don't use it. I like post the last 3 times I've posted is like basically 2017, 2018, 2019. That's it. And I want to delete it, but there are those memories of college that are on there that I just have to just download and then get rid of it. But it's crazy. We've almost been on for 20 years.
Like, sorry, go ahead.
I think it's crazy. We've almost been on for 20 years.
Oh God. Oh yeah. And the thing is, that's information we've sold to them, right? Like, we should, anyone under the age of 40, if you're listening, like, we should just all get on there collectively one day with a fucking USB and just pull your shit off of there and delete it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they'll have it forever, but
it's a statement. It's like, we're done. We're done with this shit.
Yeah, like, because it's fucking, I mean, I don't know.
I really want to go to Russia and like cause mischief over there.
Careful, you don't want to get poisoned.
Yeah. I don't want to eat or drink any of their shit anyway.
That's true. They don't seem to have a good food type. Like, what do they have? That soup that's purple and cold?
Yeah. I want some with a B. Borscht.
Borscht, that's right. Their language is very like, ha, ha. It's like, Klingon.
Sometimes I like them as the customers because they're never nice, but they're direct. They give you a complete sentence that it's involved. Volume is never an issue. Like, I get 100% is perfect. Thank you. I got you. Whereas, every old white person, how can I help you? Well, I'll have a cheeseburger. It's like, oh, okay, buddy. They either only say one word with no eye contact, or they like make you really dig for how you can help them. Whereas a Russian person's like, feel premium now. Yes, sir. I'm on it.
I mean, there's something nice about that. Like, I feel like the customer service society is destroying society because
it is.
You pay people less and less and then expect them to be like basically a chum. I'm like, you can't pay someone $15 an hour and expect them to be nice to you. Like, that just
yeah, not only be nice to you, but then clean up your mess. Whatever mess that you as customer is entitled to make, whether it's like at the table and you're like dirtying up all the just stacking the plates and it's like, oh great, now I'm gonna have to fucking wash the bottoms I don't know, I'm sure they have to wash the bottoms anyway, but like, you know what I mean?
Not putting, like, leaving crumbs everywhere, or
putting the cart on the sidewalk
when you sign it. Yeah, like putting the cart outside the cart area, or just like sitting by the door, like
taking your receipt, not throwing it on the ground, or throwing your rubber gloves on the ground, or leaving the hotel stuff.
Get to the grocery store. Oh, I didn't want this. I know. I'll put it right by the magazines. I'm just like, oh, good. I'm glad this rhubarb is up here.
Depending on what I'm wearing, because I don't want to have anybody like have comeback. If I see any of that type of behavior in the wild, I love to be such an asshole about it. Like, ma'am, that does not go there. But if I sense in any way she's going to turn around and look what I'm wearing and be like, motherfucker, then I'll just be like, no, maybe I'll just go put it back for her.
Or she turns around, she has like one arm and half
I've definitely done some things where I've preemptively started yelling at somebody about like a mask, and then I don't have my glasses, and like they did have a mask, but it's clear, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Or like
masks. I don't like that.
There's a particular design that also, it's like the face shield, but it's up. It's like a shredder type thing. It's like It's like, this is not protecting me from you. Like, maybe you're safe, but like, fuck, man.
And it's like,
you're like ramping it up to me.
And I say this as someone who has a really nice smile. No one cares that much about your smile. Like, and I really mean this from the bottom of my heart. Like, no one wants to see your mouth, guys. We all hate it.
It's a whole fucking shame. Nobody's wearing them right or even wearing them. It's over.
I mean, I started seeing a personal trainer again. And I was trying to work out with my little gator, and I was dying. And the trainer was like, well, you can take it down a little bit. And I just was like, well, what's the fucking point? Like, if I'm going to be in here, yeah, it's a big room and there are a few people, but like, we don't have great airflow. Like, if I'm going to take it off even for a few minutes, like, if I'm sick, like, it'll circulate around here by the end of the day. So I just was like feeling bad. I also was like so short of breath. So I just finally was just like, and like trying to turn it around. So it was like drier in one area. Like it was pretty bad. But you have to try. Like, I feel like you have to make the college try.
Because my job is on that lower rung of the ladder, people don't think to take care of me. So like, most people, when I ask like, oh, can you put on a mask if you're gonna get out of your car? They're like, why would I do that? It's like, oh, so I can maybe go home to see people I care about. But for the most part, people will like not have it on, hand me the card, feel regular. I do it. And then I turn back, and now they have the mask on, the window's up, and they don't want the receipt. It's like, motherfucker, like, couldn't you done this shit earlier? Like it's like, you already talked to me. Now you're not going to talk to me and you're wearing the mask?
The seal's already been broken. I mean, if they are sick, you are getting a little less exposure to their virus than if they just left it off the whole time. But yeah, collectively, little slip-ups like that add up. And you think people don't take it seriously, because I never realized how much like people take the president seriously until I saw how people weren't wearing the mask. And it's like the leadership from the top of like seeing people in power not give a shit about it makes people lower down the ladder not give a shit about it, which was really interesting. Yeah. It was like, I never thought that people would be so stupid, I guess. I just didn't think that people would. And I know not all people are like this. A lot of people like Dr. Fauci and want to hear what he has to say and want to hear what experts have to say. But I never thought people would be so just short-sighted, unwilling to hear from an expert, or just to write it off. That was crazy to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, they've really restricted his ability to say anything.
Which just makes it worse. You know what I mean? Like, I know they think doing that makes people calmer, but like, it might make people who already didn't give a shit about it even more careless, but it just makes me more nervous, because now I feel like I have to overcorrect for people who aren't going to do what's right. So I'm just like, all right, I might have, pushed myself to see a movie in 2 months, but now I'm going to think of this and be like, no, let's make it 6 months. And like, me not seeing a movie has downstream effects. Like, people don't make movies. People don't hire our friend who works in the film industry. People don't hire people who work at the movie theater. People don't hire,
You froze.
Those things ripple out. What?
You froze, but keep going. Sorry, you're back.
Oh, I mean, just people are stupid. I mean, I miss doing stuff too. Like,
and that's,
I'd love to.
I've purposely haven't been doing much, but at this point, I'm like, if everybody's going to be almost like brazenly exposing me against my will, then like fucking maybe I'll fucking go to a movie theater without a mask. I'll be that guy. No, I have a medical condition. I'll start being that guy.
No, we need you for the aftertime. I mean, what does the other side of this look like, do you think? Like, what?
We should make a bet on what the final death count will be. I feel like it's going another year.
I think it will also go another year. Bill Gates told Business Insider that he felt it would be till late January or late 2021.
I feel like the winter will cause more of it to happen, but I feel like when the vaccine is available, all the people who are not wearing masks are going to be the people who are like, "I'm not putting a microchip in my blood," and then then it's going to just mutate and just be a problem still.
Yeah, I mean, that's the shitty thing is that as soon as there's a safe vaccine available, I definitely want to get it, but I definitely think there are people who aren't going to get it. And then when enough people get it, there's some herd immunity, they're going to think that it wasn't real.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I already ran into that with a friend who was like, "Oh, you notice the cases are going down?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, because we've all been quarantined in our homes." And he's like, "Oh, well," and I'm just like, "Well, yeah, like that proves it." Your comeback to this isn't, "Well, it's because it wasn't real." Like, what the fuck? It sucks because the more you do things right, the more you enforce these idiots who are like, "Oh, it's fake," or "Oh, it's hoax." Just like,
That is like the perfect thing of humanity is like like the best of the humans create systems that benefit everybody to live so the person doesn't catch themselves on fire. But then inevitably that person's still going to catch themselves on fire because like they're like going to be like, "Fire doesn't even fucking exist. Watch. Oh shit."
and when everyone comes out with a fire extinguisher, "Oh, well." I stopped, dropped, and rolled. Well, I mean, yes, you did, but we also had, shut up, libtard, snowflake. Oh my God. Well, yeah, I think the death count will probably be here in the States.
Yeah.
Well, if Trump wins this November, I think it will go up exponentially. I would not be surprised to see us at a million and a half by the time it's over.
In my calculations were Biden victory.
Oh, with the Biden victory, God, we'll probably still have. I'm going to say maybe 400,000 because at least
That's
as many this year, plus some choking down next year. Now that people know better, hopefully, and actually working on the federal level to contain it and get people the PPE they need, and based on actually helping people where they need it, not who voted for you and who called to say thank you.
I do feel like that is a delayed federal response reason to Oregon and California, Washington fires is like, oh, fuck them.
Oh yeah, I think it's he knows we're not going to vote for him, but it's kind of stupid because the counties most affected by this are red counties.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, I'm sure they won't, but I hope it's taking into account how he doesn't give a shit about. I don't think he really gives a shit about working class white people. I think he just sees a good way to.
I don't see when people like to have a drink with the president thing that you brought up earlier. Like a crazy thing about him is like, one, he doesn't even drink, and he likes to point that out.
Yeah.
And like I would say that still the people who like him the most would still say like, well, he's the president I would like to have a beer with. It's like you're not hearing any of the information. Like he doesn't like you. He would not drink a beer with you. Like he thinks people like you are expendable.
Oh yeah.
He's done nothing to ever counter that other than when he says it like stuff at a press conference, but everything in recorded secrecy, he's saying the exact opposite. And all of his actions prove otherwise as well. But still, they're like, no, he's down to earth.
I heard someone saying how he could tell he was about family because everywhere he went, the family was with him. And I just was like, he's been married 3 times. You know, God knows what happened there. So it's just kind of, I don't know. It's just very gross. But what do I know? I'm just in here inhaling ash.
Yeah. True.
Ashy Leah. Well, it's 7:30 almost, thereabouts. Any other
I just looked at
pressing
myself.
topics?
No, but I just looked at myself. I was like, I should have adjusted that light a long time ago.
Yeah, you're very bright.
I looked like a ghost.
You're just the ultimate white man. Well, so next week I'm going to Eastern Oregon.
If it still exists.
If it still exists. Well, I'm going to Southeastern Oregon, so we'll see. And I will be back the 23rd, leaving the 16th. Well, actually, leaving the 17th, back the 21st. So, but then I'm off from work until the I go back morning the 24th. So, yeah. We should,
If we did the 25th, that would be every 2 weeks.
yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
I can tell you about my trip.
Yeah.
Hopefully I won't get killed by 3%ers or some kind of other white supremacist militia out there, but you know, I'm going out there to spend money, so hopefully they at least get that. I'm coming to spend our Chinese-backed fiat currency. Hello? Kill her!
She has Bitcoin. Get her.
Oh, I saw the trip, but
You sold it?
a little. I sold about a third of it for this trip because I wasn't willing to work overtime to get money for it. But we'll see. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, we should get a Gmail for our.
Yes. Hypothetically, send us hate mail at gmail.com.
Hypothetically that, and hopefully that.
Yes.
God, I hope so.
Could be an abbreviated like SUHM at Gmail.
Yeah, I like SUHN because it's like some.
Yeah. Oh, we got a little something.
some. And it's a death threat.
Yeah. Dear motherfuckers, start hiding.
You don't know me, but I know you.
I tried to burn down a Burger King once. Heard you talking bad about me.
You didn't use his name.
I was wise to.
You can text it to me later.
Okay, I will. I'll send you that picture of him.
All right, I'll email you and try to get this Gmail set up. Cool. Gmail set up. Ugh.
Tell me to shut up. I get it. Must be the end of the podcast.
Must be the end of the podcast. All right. See you later, shut up, motherfucker.
Lulu.